Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Mr. Maple Show.
I'm Tim.
I'm Wesley.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're bringing you another Azalea adventure. We've got another one of these epic adventures planned for today. Today we're coming up here to Wine Springs Bald. This is the trail that we've got here in front of us, but we've actually got a little bit of a pro tip. We've got a power line this way, and we're actually going to go this way, hike up the power line. They say there's some kalmia. We're going to run into some rhododendron calendulaceum and some rhododendron arborescens, the native sweet azalea. So we are hiking up this power line here. Some killer kalmias right here, some mountain laurel blooming right now. It's the perfect time to see these things in bloom in early June right now. And we've got just rhododendron calendulaceum in here. The combination of all these plants, just as you go up this power line, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I think we definitely hit the jackpot by realizing not to go up the trail.
Right.
But up the power line.
Yeah, right here you can see they're getting a lot more sunlight through here. Most of everything on the other trail is under a canopy. So a lot of these plants out here are a lot more vibrant and more blooms on these out here. It's so exciting to see this in its natural setting. You know, it just gives you a better idea of the scope of what a beautiful azalea could do, or a mountain laurel or rhododendrons. It's just really cool to see it in this setting.
And this rhododendron calendulaceum that's behind us, it's just a vibrant orange red, contrasting so well nicely with these kalmia. This whole atmosphere is awesome, and we're only 50 yards from the truck, 100 yards from the truck. And this is just the start of it. I know today is going to be another epic azalea adventure.
It is. You know, I'm excited. We're going to start seeing some arborescens up the higher we go, which is something we hadn't seen so far in some of our azalea adventure videos. So I'm excited to kind of add that new species into the mix.
Oh yeah.
It's going to give such a great example of the diversity that we have out here in nature.
As we're hiking up this power line, we've got a lot of kalmia, that mountain laurel, just all up and down. It's the first things we're seeing as we're hiking up this trail. This is perhaps one of the prettiest pinks that I've seen yet on this trail. And it's just really in full blossom and a lot of blossoms yet to open up. Really, really cool. Thought I'd bring you this mountain laurel. Maybe we'll show you some of the whites up here in a little bit. So I just thought I'd bring you by and show you one of the more white selections of the kalmia as we're walking up this hill. There are lots of whites, lots of in-between white pinks. So I thought I'd show you first the most pink, and then this is one of the most white ones that I've seen yet hiking up this trail. Really showing you some of the diversity in that mountain laurel as we're hiking up, as we start going further and further up. So as we're hiking up this trail, we've been seeing a lot of Acer pennsylvanicum around the area. You know, we've shot a few videos on things I thought were unusual. This one we thought was pretty unusual because of the bark. It's black. I inspected the plant. It appears to be a healthy plant. There's very little spots in there where it's actually green. It almost looks like the striations that are typically black have blackened out the branches on this plant. I mean, it has dark black stemming with the green leaves. First time I've seen this on Acer pennsylvanicum, the moosewood maple. Really neat snakebark maple that we have here that's native on the East Coast, typically in the Appalachian Mountain area. And really unusual to see this black branching. Super unusual, thought I'd bring it to you here first. So we know a few things about power lines. And power lines are often cleaned off by people going around with sprayers, backpack sprayers, spraying back what they consider to be weeds. Blackberries would be something they would try to spray back and keep back out of the trail underneath the power lines. And we saw this moosewood maple, Acer pennsylvanicum, also had a little bit of darker bark, almost like the other one, but had a little more green. I'm starting to wonder if something that has to do with some of the herbicides, like weed killer, can be used to cause variegation in plants. Wesley, our resident variegation finder, found this amazing blackberry sport. How would you describe this, Wesley?
Honestly, it looks almost heavily variegated, almost like a reticulation to it.
Yeah, and some of the leaves up here towards the tip are deformed and have a little more spike to them than your traditional blackberry. Something really cool. I've never seen a blackberry like this. And this may be something that's temporary from herbicide, but it may be something that's caused a permanent mutation in the plant itself.
I mean, it's definitely affected this whole little area right here, because there's 1, 2, 3 more plants that have the same kind of look to them. So
something really cool. If you're a variegated plant fiend like we are, we had to bring this to you, even though this isn't an azalea. Variegated plants on a plant adventure must be shown.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the kind of thing that we tried to recreate as horticulturists, and just to see it out in the wild is amazing.
I think that's just crazy. Brian spotted this up above us while we were just shooting that last segment, and that's even more variegation that you see on a blackberry right beside where we were at. That much. I'm wondering if there's a plant that's had some deformations and then has made progeny out here. And I'm wondering how stable this might actually be, because this looks pretty awesome.
So what we have here, we believe, is an Acer rubrum. And as we were sitting here filming some other stuff on some variegation that we found on some blackberry bushes, we noticed that the leaves on this have become very deformed. The lobes have elongated, giving it some interesting serration on the edges of it, and really created a different look than what you'd expect to see on a rubrum.
And kind of cool, it has almost a lace leaf, silver leaf style foliage on an Acer rubrum. I'm wondering how stable this will be, or if any mutations in here will become permanent. Only time would be able to tell. But it's kind of cool to see these things out here. Again, power lines, you find a lot of this stuff because of the herbicides being used to push the vegetation back away from the power lines and keep the power lines running. But I've always been told, Dr. Richard Olson always told me, best place to find a lot of witches' brooms and variegated sports is along the power lines, because of all the chemicals they use there. And kind of cool to see. Kind of hate seeing nature get affected this way by man, but at the same time, you're also kind of like, wow, this is kind of cool. Is this going to stay permanent? Is this something that would be kind of cool with this sort of lace leaf rubrum? I mean, there's not one out there yet. Really cool. And being maple geeks, we had to show you this native red maple with this contorted lace leaf type foliage.
So we're really excited to bring this to you. We've been out azalea hunting, and we finally found our first rhododendron arborescens. And this is a beautiful, beautiful white to pink flower with the red stamens, and it's just absolutely stunning. We were hoping we could find some up here soon, and soon enough we found it right off the side of the trail, tucked in some shade here. We're actually surprised to see it blooming right here, but it is absolutely stunning to see this white, this bright white little bit of a pink in the center and the red stamens coming out. Just a beautiful bloom.
So guys, we thought we'd bring you up here and show you this bloom a little bit up close. This is the, like Brian said, Rhododendron arborescens, the native sweet azalea, and the fragrance from this is extremely, extremely sweet. Amazing azalea, amazing native, and you see those red stamens, white blossoms. This is our first Rhododendron arborescens on our azalea adventures. Pretty exciting stuff. We hope to see a lot more as we get higher up in elevation up here at this amazing bald. And it's super exciting to be on these azalea adventures and see some of these things for the very first time. As we're coming up through here, of course, this is our azalea adventures. We've been seeing a lot of Rhododendron calendulaceum peeking out above the kalmia, those mountain laurels, peeking out from the edges of the trees in the power line. And this is one right here on the edge as you're coming up through the power line of a really nice Rhododendron calendulaceum. You really see a lot of the orange blooms that have opened, but a lot of these orange-red trusses that are just about to open up and really have a lot more blooms. So I would say this one's gonna be in bloom in a few more weeks, fully in bloom maybe next week. Right now, looks like, you know, we've got some really good color on this plant, but it's not quite in full bloom.
All right, guys, we've came across another arborescens. This one, though, is a little bit more in that truss stage. The blooms haven't opened. Just wanted to show you guys what the kind of process is that they go through here. Probably still a little early for the arborescens for the most part, but we're just catching it here.
So this place is pretty cool. Most people wouldn't think to come and hike this particular area to view the azaleas or rhododendrons out here because of the power lines for one, and then also you've got the towers in the background, so most people would think this would be what you'd be coming to see. But for us, being the plant geeks, we know where the plants are at, and we've got a few pro tips that came our way as well. So this is a cool place to come check out. We've been seeing a lot of beautiful azaleas up here. And what do you think, Wesley? It's been pretty cool, right?
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. And if you plan to come out here during the azalea season, I mean, we're the only 3 people out here. So it's going to be a nice, peaceful experience for you to come and check out some azaleas. Oh, we got another arborescens back here.
Dude, check it for variegation.
And some variegated stuff right here from the spraying, maybe. Nah, a little bit of deformation, some light coloring, but no variegation.
Well, we gotta check every sweet azalea we find.
You got it.
Guys, these native sweet azaleas are tucked in just right underneath the understory of the plants right at the edge of the power line. Right now we've got some really sweet azaleas. The fragrance is strong. You often smell the plants before you can see them. And this one's just starting to bloom, so I can only imagine once these things are in full bloom how sweet the aroma will be as you're walking by. But this one just looked so nice to us because it was shorter, denser, and more compact than some of those more upright forms that we've seen so far that were a little more open and further in the understory. So we thought we'd show this really nice Rhododendron arborescens because this is such a nice form, and really it's got a lot of blooms coming on. If you're coming up here and visiting in the next week or so, this is going to be killer in bloom. You see all these almost that finger stage right before, maybe right after the finger stage, they're swelling up a little bit. I mean, it's going to really be loaded with some flowers. So while I was the sucker shooting the last plant, Wesley was running up ahead of us and spotted this really awesome sweet azalea.
Yeah, this is way more of a pink, You see the pink in the truss, and this has even got some pink red or red purple stemming on it. So this one is very, very pretty.
Yeah, this is the first more pink form of rhododendron arborescens, the sweet azalea, native sweet azalea, that we've seen yet. Something we noticed a little bit, I think the leaves are a little more round. I have to go back and double check, but the bloom trusses are a pure pink, a bright pink, and they open up to a pink white, and then they've got those red stems.
Yeah, and on the flower you see a little bit of like pink striping on the flower whenever you get up close to it with those nice bright vibrant stamens.
Yeah, and we had a little bit of a tip that there was a plant up here that had a lot more anthocyanin in it, meaning it's got more of that pink color. And this may be that plant. We may find that plant later, but this plant is impressive either way. I mean, this plant is our first really pink looking native azalea that we found yet on our azalea adventures. And I hope it's one of many more to come.
There's a huge one back there.
Let's go check it out and see what it is.
Let's go.